Many years ago, growing up in the city of Lagos, I used to know of a family, very well to do. The man was gainfully employed. The woman was selling plastics in a popular market there in Lagos. I won't mention the name for confidentiality purposes. All of a sudden, she opened her shop one day and then ran out, started screaming, lunatic display. And then we heard the news. Otiyawere, Otiyawere. What's all that? What Otiyawere? But again, the journey began. Finally, the man had to resign. At a point, they had to take the children away from her because today she's calm, tomorrow she's violent. This moment she's organized, the next moment she's violent. So that point that I became very interested in the study of mental health and mental illness. The Yorubas have a word that is called Asiwere, which is interchangeably used with another word called weary. So I'll be talking about mental health and the concept of Asiwere today. Now, it would interest you to know that Asiwere is viewed as a terminal stage of an illness. But mental illness actually refers to minor stages of a mental health problem. Now, the Yorubas have gone ahead to classify mental illness, or let me use the word Asiwere, into three. You have Were Amutorunwa, Were Iran, and Were Afishe. Oh, that sounds funny to you, right? So let me explain so that you'd actually understand where all this is coming from. Now, Were Amutorunwa simply refers to madness brought from heaven, if you want to look at it in that context. But to explain it properly, it actually means madness from birth or mental illness from birth. You are born with that mental illness. Now, Wiriron refers to a generational or family illness. That is, it runs in this family. You know how you say these things when someone is like, why don't you do this? Why you do this? Ah, that's how we are in our family. That's how we do it in our village. That's how we do it where I come from. Exactly. Weriafishe. The Yorubas believe that you cannot just become mentally ill. Like you cannot just become mad except you have offended the gods or someone placed a curse on you. And so the concept of Weriafishe is that somebody is doing you. Exactly, one share. And if you relate this to the story I told earlier on, are they not justified? I mean, how do you explain that someone opened up a shop and all of a sudden she erupts? But this has its own effect on someone who wants to seek help or even the behavior of a person. It has implications on help-seeking behaviors and social interactions. Now, because this person believes that I need to be in a certain way or perform or behave in a certain way, and the moment there's a deviation, this person finds it difficult to seek help. Something is responsible for this. I'd like to talk about labeling theory. Now, labeling theory is a theory that seeks to define individuals based on how they behave or how they act. Now, it wants to determine or describe a person. So a majority group of people or a certain majority come together and say, look, because this minority is not behaving in the standard cultural norm, this is what we'll call them. And the moment this occurs, it becomes very difficult for anyone who falls within this minority to actually come out to seek help. A number of times when people reach out to me, there's several platforms to share their mental health journey with me. I hear a lot of things like, please don't judge me. A lot of people have judged me. It took me so much energy, so much strength to reach out to you to ask for help. Because I know that if I talk to just anyone, they'll call me names. Nothing is wrong with you. Just go and pray. Nothing is wrong with you. You have just offended someone. Go ask for forgiveness. Sorry, you are just depressed. You'll be fine. And you realize that this labeling theory runs deeply in our system everywhere. I give you another example. How do you come up with the fact to say you're fat, you're big, you have pot belly, you're tall, you're short? It's all the concept of labeling theory. But let me tell you today that mental illness doesn't start all of a sudden. No. There are signs and symptoms that come up before you become finally ill or before you are diagnosed as being mentally ill. I'll give 3 case scenarios. 1, depression. A lot of people come and say, I am depressed, I am depressed, I am depressed. Before you get to that point of being saying you're depressed, there is a moment of sadness. Sadness runs for a few moments, few weeks perhaps. And then, having gone for about 2 weeks uninterrupted, and you present to a physician or a psychologist or a therapist after running different tools, then you can be said to be depressed. Nobody actually wakes up depressed. But the problem is you don't pay attention to that period where sadness or you're having mood swings and your mood is constantly low. You feel it is normal. The economy is not okay. My lecturer is not treating me well. School is not fun. And then you just stomach it. Another case I would like to give is suicide. Trust me, we've heard a whole lot of people dying by suicide in Nigeria. A whole lot of people dying by suicide all over the world. But do you know that nobody wakes up and says, today, I want to kill myself, I want to die? There are things that have happened. Sadness, depression, suicide ideation. Oh, let me share with you what suicide ideation is all about. Suicide ideation is that point where an individual sits down and says, this is the best way for me to die. I'll just walk up to that bridge and do this. Oh, I'll just do this and then I'll be gone. But the truth of the matter is nobody really wants to die. And so nobody wakes up all of a sudden and says, today, I am gone. Now, what exactly am I talking about here? Is the fact that for each and every one of us seated here and everyone all over the world, that we need to understand that mental illness is something that we need to embrace that is existent. And why we do not have enough policies, why we do not have enough legislation to enable everyone get that required help? You and I have a responsibility to go out there and work as advocates. Let them understand that unlike the concept of Asiwere that sees mental illness as incomprehensible, untreatable, dangerous, scary, that mental illness is indeed treatable. That mental illness is not scary. That there is help if they seek for help. I had the opportunity of living within Osun State for 4 years or thereabouts, and I come into Osogbo regularly. And my first encounter getting into Osogbo many years ago, I realized that on some streets you see people or human beings who are walking around and, of course, mentally ill. Now, the interesting thing in mental illness is that what you see is the behavior. You actually do not see the thoughts going on through the minds of that person. You actually cannot sit down there and say, this is how this person feels. Because what you see is the behavior of that person. And before there is a behavior, there's a problem feeling, and there's a problem thinking, and then there's a problem behavior. And so what you see is the behavior. So that man that you see at the express wearing tattered clothes, that you presume is mad, is actually ill in his head and needs treatment. He's actually not mad. He's just ill. And so would you show that man same respect, same care and same love that you show to someone suffering cancer? Would you show that woman who has her baby clutched to her back and feeds her or feeds that baby with anything just because she's mentally ill? She doesn't know what is going on. Her own normal is your abnormal. Your abnormal is her own normal. If you're going to redefine tomorrow, it starts from today. That you and I would understand that the ill person, the mentally ill person, is just as someone who is also ill due to malaria. The care, the respect, the love, and the attention that you pay to that person, would you please pay such attention to the person? Would you come together and join your voices to look at how we can have policies and laws that will give room to mental health in Nigeria? The only policy that Nigeria has dates back to 1991. So irrelevant these days because a lot is changing. A lot is changing. Even in the statistics and manual being used to classify mental illness, a lot of mental illnesses are coming up that were not available as at 1991. Or is it the act that criminalizes suicide? That says the moment someone tries to take his own life, that person is taken to the police station and charged to court for trying to take your life. Does that even make sense? This is someone who needs help. No sane human being wants to be ill. You agree with me? Nobody loves to be down with malaria. So, of course, nobody loves to be down or to be mentally ill. It may seem like there is little or nothing you can do, but there is so much you can do. You can act as an advocate. Not all of us will be therapists. Not all of us will be psychiatrists. Not all of us will be psychologists. But everyone can be an advocate. The tomorrow you talked about yesterday is today. The tomorrow we are talking about today is just some hours away. You never can tell the help or the magnitude of care you'll be showing to someone by just reaching out and saying, "How are you?" Says, "I'm fine." Are you sure you're fine? When people say they are fine, it has become a cliche. I am fine. And we move on. That person may be fine physically, but internally the person is not fine. How are you? You. Can you clearly and truly say you're fine? If we open up your mind and your head, can we indeed see that you have a clean bill of mental health? You're smiling, you look beautiful, you look handsome, you're well dressed. You've hugged everyone and everyone this morning. But can you truly say that you're fine? But just because you're not on the streets there, nobody has tagged you Asiwere. But because that person is out there, crying for help silently by his or her display, such a person is tagged Asiwere. We must wake up and cut off stereotypes. We must wake up and stop labeling people. We must wake up to understand that mental illness is not the wish of anyone. And as little as it may seem, nothing is little. Would you join me? Or would you join every other mental health advocate out there to redefine how we see mental illness? Would you lend your voice to this work? Thank you.